Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Let's Play The Witcher. We're in Kaer Morhen, where we've been previously introduced to Geralt and his Witcher pals, and Triss, who's feeling a little bit poorly at the moment. We need to go get the ingredients for a potion, so we can make a potion that will make her feel a bit better. We're going to go upstairs to do that. You'll notice there's a large hole in the ceiling as well while we're at it. Kaer Morhen has definitely seen better days, it must be said. Its glory days as a huge school for witches in the distant past are long over. That is blatantly obvious. It's fun and interesting to note, actually, though, that the layout and stuff of Kaer Morhen is almost identical to the way it is in The Witcher 3 when you come back here in that game. When I played The Witcher 3 for the first time and I noticed that, I have to admit I was quite pleased to see that. I like a bit of continuity. Really? I think it's good. I'm glad that they had the attention to detail to make sure that it was exactly the same. And that is a dead rat with all of its entrails hanging out. That is looks like it was run over by a car, that thing. Also, that is a very delightful low-poly turkey. and this kitchen, I think it needs to be noted as well, like, this is a kitchen that was made for giants. Like, look at the size of this thing compared to Geralt, and Geralt is not a short person. Look, it comes up to his chest. It's massive. It's huge. There's some gigantic kebabs they've got on there. Anyway. Let's carry on. Actually, let's loot everything. How about that, eh? A bun. Restores vitality. Can also be sold or given to someone. Gutted fish. And regular fish, of the ungutted variety, one assumes. Very good. Anything else we can grab while we're here? We've got a fair old bit of room in our inventory. Might as well grab everything. Flint as well. Very good, very good. Are we going upstairs via this staircase here or the other one? Oh, I think it's this one, actually, not the other one. Hello! One of the stragglers that Vesemir previously mentioned. Oh, there's more.
I'll make you squeal.
You won't make him squeal, my friend, but you will make Geralt go roar a lot. Get used to that sound effect, folks. It's gonna be replayed a lot in this game. Geralt, put your sword away, thank you. Also, this bit's flooded. This game actually has some quite nice water effects. It'll become a lot more obvious when we get into the main world and we get to see rivers and stuff like that, but for 2007, they look pretty good. I don't think the water effects are modded either, so let's loot your orans. Orans are the currency in this game. Blueberries as well, thank you very much. That's one of the things they actually did with the Aurora engine when they made this game, actually, if I recall, is one of the big overhauls they made to the Aurora engine, CD Projekt Red, was adding really swish water effects to the game. And use up.
You'll regret the day you were born.
There's quite a few of them up here, isn't there, actually? So much for a few stragglers.
Die, bastard!
Let's go group style, shall we? Oh, we've already killed two of them.
I'll make you squeal.
Well, if I keep getting the combos right, you won't. Haha! Tip, turn off floating messages like too fast and final attack in the game options. I'm not going to do that because I need every visual aid I can get when as a Let's Player on YouTube. We Let's Players are dumbasses, I'm afraid, folks, in case you hadn't already noticed, but we're idiots. The simple act of trying to talk and play a game at the same time, it kills about half of your brain cells. If I can get big floating text messages telling me I'm getting it wrong, you better believe I'm going to have them switched on. In fact, I've already walked past something I can loot in here, I think. I'm sure. Isn't there something you can loot in here? Yeah, here we go. This dresser with some bottled water in it. Restores endurance. And an empty globe thing. I don't know if it's actually supposed to be a globe thing. It might be a kind of astronomy-related thing. As you can see, though, the witches have an impressive library here, actually. Full of books and stuff on monster lore. There are books in the game we can pick up and read, which contain interesting little tidbits of lore. I will endeavour to read them and pick them up when we get them, because they're not very long. It's not like Elder Scrolls books, which are like 20 pages sometimes. They're quite short. Hello, ratties. Yes, that's right. Flee! Flee! Flee the mighty Geralt. And this is not a very sensible sleeping arrangement, this, I gotta say. I know witches like to live dangerously, but still, that's a bit much. Anyway. Right. Cabinet. You contain more blueberries. Excellent. We found the hidden blueberry stash. Not actually what we're after, though. Anything else in here? Anything? I keep forgetting I can hold down Alt to highlight all of the stuff. Aurora Engine style, as you do in Neverwinter Nights. Or Infinity Engine style, for that matter. It's very Baldur's Gate being able to do that, isn't it, really? Kedwinian Stout. Weak alcohol, dark beer from Kedwin. It's one of the northern kingdoms. Kedwin. What are the other ones? Aedirn, Redania, Temeria. We'll be going to Temeria in this game. We'll be spending most of our time in Temeria, in fact. In fact, we'll be spending most of the series of games in Temeria, actually. Now that I think about it. Oh, I missed some remains over here. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm losing my way a bit here. I am... Okay, yeah, there's a map of Temeria. I didn't want that. I actually wanted the location map of Kaer Morhen. Kaer Morhen isn't in Temeria. It's way up in the northeast somewhere. Near Kedwin, I think. It can be very easy to lose track of where everything is, all these different kingdoms that are referenced in the game. Especially if you're playing this as a newbie. The Witcher 2 is even worse for it, because The Witcher 2 really gets into the whole politics stuff. And doesn't explain it terribly well. You have to kind of sit there making notes and with a map in front of you half the time. The Frightener, a book that discusses frighteners. Might have been useful earlier, not so much now. An unknown potion. A ham sandwich. Oh, get in. Go for a ham sandwich right now, actually. It's getting close to lunchtime. Calcium equum. Here we go. It's one of the ingredients we need. It contains vitriol and rubido. Two substances which are used for alchemical purposes. And some more swallow. Excellent. We've got loads of that stuff, actually. We've got 5 swallow potions now. Swallow is not, by the way, the instructions printed on the side of the bottle. It's actually the... oh, there's a map, look. It's named after the bird, swallow. Most of the potions of the game are named after animals, I think. Is that a map of anything in particular? Is it just a general map of just nowhere? I'm thinking... I've got the old paper map that came with this game, and I'm not seeing anything familiar on there, so... Some pictures of plants and stuff, and some bellows. Anything else? Ah, this dresser over here. Bottled water, okay. Bottled water in a medieval setting like this, is that something you really want to drink a lot of? It occurs to me, like, there's a reason they drank so much alcohol back in these kind of times. Mostly because the alcohol killed the germs in the water. Aha! This would be the armory. What we got here? White Gull, there it is. Alchemical base used to make other potions. Mild Witcher's hallucinogen. Yeah, Witcher potions... only really work on witches. They are extremely toxic and usually fatal to regular humans. Monstrum, or a portrayal of witches. There you go, another book. In fact, I did say I was going to read those books, so let's have a quick look at it. Right, click to read. Here we go. If you can just skip ahead if you're not interested in this via the bar at the bottom, it's fine. Indeed, there is nothing more repulsive than these monsters that defy nature and are known by the name of Witcher, as they are the offspring of foul sorcery and witchcraft. They are unscrupulous scoundrels without conscience and virtue, veritable creatures from hell capable of only taking lives. They have no place amongst decent and honest folk, And this Kaer Morhen, where these villains nest and practice foul rituals, must be wiped off the face of the earth, and all evil traces of it need to be treated with salt and saltpeter to complete the deed. This book adds a glossary entry to the journal. Yes, I believe in the past Kaer Morhen was attacked by a bunch of fanatics with these pamphlets, who witches are not... They're due to their status as mutants, people generally in the world aren't amazingly fond of witches, as we'll see as we get into the game and encounter more people. But as you can see, it's established fairly early on. That's the same bloody book, isn't it? We want the other one. Where is it? The Frightener. Here we go. A collection of information on an unusually rare monster known as the Frightener. Okay, so this doesn't actually have anything in it. It just adds a bestiary entry to the journal. And that's actually mechanically important in this game, having a bestiary entry in the journal. Because it actually allows you to fight the monsters more effectively. There you go. Occurrence. Frighteners are very rare. They come into being as a result of magical experiments. To create a Frightener, a mage has to possess great power and a basic knowledge of mutation. Immunity. Frighteners are immune to almost all effects. They are sensitive to steel and silver. Very sensitive to loud sounds at high frequencies. Tactics. In combat, Frighteners rely on their size and strength. They try to knock their opponents down and then deal a lethal blow. And alchemy, Frightener's Iron Claw, we can loot from them, basically. The first mage to create a Frightener was the infamous renegade Dagobert Sulla. Dagobert, what a name. A diligent student of the Zerrikanian Masters of Alchemy and the supervisor of the Trial of the Grasses carried out at Kaer Morhen. Upon beholding the abomination he had created, Sulla is said to have cried, "What have I done?" He destroyed the monster. His notes, however, survived. Right, okay, weapons. Let's see, a Temerian Iron Dagger. Let's have that. We can only have one of each type of weapon slot with us. You can't put weapons in your inventory. Like, Geralt can only carry so many of them on his person, so... There's a dagger. This weapon cannot be used in combination with Witcher combat styles. I can't remember really how useful like these auxiliary weapons really are in this game, since your main sword really is just kind of good for everything. But as you can see, here's an axe as well. Damage 5 to 15, chance of critical effect bleeding. Again, cannot be used with Witcher styles. Versus our rusty sword. We'll be getting a new sword fairly soon, I think. It's damage minus 30%. A steel sword used to fight humans, ineffective against most monsters, used in Witcher combat styles. Well, anyway, let's have this axe. For now... Is there anything else? Not really. Now, what's interesting is in this game, if I recall, Geralt only ever has one sword. If you're familiar with the second and third games, obviously you'll know that he carries two swords, one that's steel and one that's silver. The old adage in universe, in fact, being that they use... I feel like I'm missing something here, and I haven't quite figured out what. The steel is for humans and the silver's for monsters. Now, interestingly, Geralt actually points out in one of the books, I forget which one, I think it's the first one, he points out that this is actually a bit of a misapprehension, a bit of a misconception of their unknown potion. Because the steel and the silver are both for monsters. Because basically there are some monsters that are susceptible to silver, and there are some which are susceptible to steel, and that's why they have two swords for dealing with monsters. It's the idea that the steel is for humans is kind of a myth, basically. That's what common folk believe in universe, and Geralt in one of the books points out that that's actually not supposed to be the case. However, for some reason in this game he only has one sword, even though I'm pretty sure even in the books he has two swords. Hence that conversation I just mentioned. Just a weird thing to note, I guess. What's the status effect we've got on us, by the way? Is that still... Yeah, that's still the Thunderbolt, which has got 54 minutes left. Right, Lambert.
What do you need?
I have the ingredients, yeah, we've got everything.
Done. I have the ingredients, and it's safe upstairs.
Good. You'll need 2 more things to make the potion.
the claw of a mighty beast, and some celandine. Vesemir will tell you where to find them. Let me teach you the formula.
Very good. Okay, now we need to speak to Vesemir. Hello?
Oh, that was a tough fight.
I finished off several marauders upstairs.
We might not have taken down the Frightener without you. Unfortunately, Triss had to get past Savola first, giving them time. They took almost everything, but the devices aren't most important.
If I'd gone with her, I might have tended to Savola.
Without you, the Frightener might have finished us. You did well, Wolf. Take this armor and sword. I've been keeping them for you.
Hooray! We've got armor and a proper sword now. Anyway, Lambert gave us the formula.
Lambert gave me the formula.
I take it you already have White Gull and Calcium Equum.
I do. What next?
You'll need celandine. Take what I have. Plus the claw of a monster like the Frightener. To skin a creature, take a sharp knife and cut along the torso. You'll find the Frightener's carcass in the upper courtyard. Once you've extracted the claw, rest by the fire while making the potion.
Hurrah! Look at our fancy armor we've got now. Much better. I can't get over, by the way, how goofy it is the way the axe wobbles around on our belt when we move around and stuff in this. It's very amusing to me. Anyway. Right. Okay. So. Lambert's tending to the fireplace. Actually, there were some other dialogue topics there to discuss with Vesemir, and I think I will, although let's go get the Frightener bits first. Anyway, yeah. Geralt's actually a very experienced Witcher, like a very, very experienced Witcher at this point in his story. But rather handily, the developers of the game decided he would have amnesia so that he would have to relearn being a Witcher, which ties in very nicely with the player having to also learn how to be a Witcher. It's the amnesia thing is very overdone in video games, but I suppose we can forgive it in this particular instance. Where is the bloody thing? It's over here, isn't it? Hello, Mr. Frightener. There you are. I could have sworn we killed it over here, but never mind. To extract alchemical components, left-click on the monster carcass. Tip: read books to gain information about monsters and alchemical ingredients. You must know about ingredients before you can collect them. Yes. Again, more functional, actual mechanical reasons why filling out the bestiary is a very good idea. Frightener's Eye and Frightener's Claw. There we go. Now we can go find Vesemir and get the potion sorted. The sound effect when you go through doors in this is very odd. There's a lot about this game that's very odd, in fairness, but whatever. Right, Vesemir.
Yes?
Yeah, this is a good question.
What if I get the ingredients wrong?
You'll have to find more.
Where?
I'll have another claw and more celandine. Eskel has alcohol, and I saw calcium equum somewhere upstairs. But try to get it right the first time. It's not that hard.
It's really not. He's quite right. And it's... You had a claw this entire time. You had a claw this entire time, Vesemir, and you still made me go out there and skin the bloody monster. Anyway.
Where are Lambert and Eskel?
Upstairs. Lambert's in the library, and Eskel's taking Triss to her room.
I have all the ingredients.
Good. Now rest and prepare the potion according to the formula.
Good. That's very easy to do. I'll show you that in a minute, folks. But first...
Are there other Witchers?
There were 3 Witcher schools in all, but it's been long since I've heard word of the other 2. You've met all the Witchers I know of, except for Berengar.
Did I know him?
I don't believe so. An introvert, he chose his own path. Actually, none here can say they know Berengar. He often ran away from Kaer Morhen, though he would always return in the end. After the trial of the grasses, he finally accepted his destiny and started training for real.
Some always run.
Perhaps. And perhaps something detains him.
It was very sinister the way he said that. Some always run.
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
Do you and Triss argue often?
Not too much. Sorceresses and their vain glory. Though compared to others, Triss seems an angel. Thanks for backing me. Oh, I have something for you. You might find this meteorite useful.
Thanks.
Don't mention it.
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
Who was Leo?
One of hundreds of orphans of the war with Nilfgaard. I apprenticed him 6 years ago.
I'm sorry.
We'll recover our secrets and find Leo's murderers, even if they fled to the end of the world.
Can I ask you something?
Of
Yeah,
course.
come on. Right.
You mentioned defending Kaer Morhen before.
Yes. 15 witchers once lived here, training boys for their trials. Only they knew the secrets of mutation. Witchers who set out on the path and failed to assimilate among humans wintered here. Before the battle, 23 witchers and 40 students called Kaer Morhen home. Too damned few for the mob that attacked. I never knew why they came. Some say a sudden explosion of anger born of disdain for witchers. But no. Someone provoked the mob with flyers filled with lies. Special agents read them to the peasants. Truer still, the fanatics could never have taken the fort without the aid of sorcerers, though they outnumbered us by far. They didn't even spare the youngest. I alone survived, concealed among the corpses. Walk around, Wolf. The skeletons remain. You may find a flyer, there used to be hundreds. Memorize it as a warning of the evil humans can perpetrate.
Yeah, there you go. That's the flyer we found earlier.
Can I ask you something?
Again.
Of course.
This one.
Any idea who attacked?
No, but the mage suggests no ordinary bandits. We found pins adorned with salamanders on the dead. The symbol of their organization, perhaps? I sense hard times ahead.
We'll speak later.
Okay. A little bit of exposition there from old Vesemir. Another dead rat. Was Vesemir just standing on that? Anyway. Let's get this potion sorted. So, we go to the fireplace, we go to the meditation screen thingy, what's it? And then we click on the vial, wherever it's got to, do the potions. Not seeing a vial. Curse you, interface mod, you've moved the thing. I can't see a vial anywhere. Let's just go... There we go. Select the formula to add ingredients to the vial automatically, then left-click on the mix at the bottom right of the screen. Okay. Right, the potion for Triss, this one here, we can just click on this and it'll automatically add the stuff to it. There we go, I think. Just trying to decipher this little screen here a little bit. It looks different to what I remember it being, mostly because of the mod. Right. Yeah, the base is White Gull. And then we've got the Calcium Equum, which has got Vitriol and Rubido in it. And Celandine, which has got Rebus and Nigredo in it. And then the Frightener's Claw, which is a special, unique substance that's required for it too. As you can see, there's a few here. There's Swallow, there's Tawny Owl, Thunderbolt, White Gull, and they've also got all these different logos in for the actual ingredients, the alchemical substances that are required to make them, and then you find those substances within various things, as you can see here. So it has a whole alchemy system that's based on these different elements you can see here. There's about 7 of them, it looks like. And in various combinations, you can use them to make the different potions in the game from various sources. It's a relatively in-depth system, and I quite like it. They simplified it a lot in the following games, and I'm not even sure that was a terribly good idea. I thought it was perfectly fine, but whatever. Anyway, this is already done for us by clicking on the thing from the list. It automatically fills the items we need in there. So let's just mix it. There you go. As Vesemir said, it's pretty idiot-proof. So close that. And meditate for an hour. We have to meditate for an hour minimum after you've done alchemy, so... Great. Now we're going to go give this to somebody, one assumes. Go take it to Triss's room on the upper floor. Brilliant. Which is via the other staircase, if I recall. Or not? No, not, as a matter of fact. Whoops. Never mind. Got that a little bit wrong. To the kitchen! Which, is there anything else we can loot out here while we're at it? Just run around with the Alt key held down. No, I think we're good. Damn, this awkward movement. Okay, upper floor. There's Eskel. You mentioned Lambert was in the library? Not right now, he isn't. And there's the stairs to Triss's room. We'll check that out in a minute. I just want to see if Eskel's got any extra dialogue.
Need anything, Wolf?
I have some questions.
What is it?
We already know about that.
You seem to feel at home here.
Well, I've always preferred an armory to a lab. Though Vesemir plays up the importance of potions, he's hardly an expert. After all, he's always taught swordplay. Still, he tries to teach us everything he learned when he was young, and that was a while back. But to be honest, I don't care for all these powders, mushrooms, and other trash.
Powders, mushrooms, and other trash. It's amazing, his voice in this first game. Anyway. He mentions Vesemir being young a very long time ago, and that's also because witches live for an unnaturally long time as well. Again, that's not directly explained this early on, but yeah, they live for like over 100 years.
Couldn't Triss have helped with Leo's mutation?
Maybe. It's a little more complicated than that. See, we've never shown her the lab, and the last mutation was completed years ago, before the battle. Vesemir can tell you more.
Indeed, he already has.
You really think Triss never used magic to peek inside?
She respects our secrets, and she's done a lot for us. For you. I trust her.
So why haven't you shown her the lab?
Triss would like to use our secrets to heal people and such. I've no doubt she'd try, but it's never that simple. Ever heard of the gnome Alfred Nabel?
Eskel, I have amnesia.
An incomparable inventor, like most of his race. Through years of research, he discovered an amazing substance. He intended it for use in mines and quarries. Though a genius, Alfred failed to foresee his invention's possible applications. Others quickly realized that a substance designed to rip granite from the ground could destroy castle walls. Some even considered using it in open battle.
I get it. So what happened to Alfred's discovery?
Mages stopped it from spreading. Alfred committed suicide, and his lab burned down.
Gunpowder, basically. I'm sure that'll never catch on.
Couldn't Triss have helped with Leo's mutation?
Oh, we already asked this.
It's a little more complicated than that. See, we've never...
Yeah, I'll talk to Vesemir.
I'll talk to Vesemir.
Come back, Eskel.
How can I help?
Yeah, tell us about the Trial of the Grasses.
Tell me about the Trial of the Grasses.
It's a 3-stage process. The first is the choice. Leo completed it, enduring the hard training and diet.
I presume it's more than your basic lettuce and carrots.
Special mushrooms, mosses, and herbs are grown in the lab. Combined with training, they accelerate muscle growth and digestion, improving the body's general condition.
Does everyone pass the first stage?
Unfortunately not. The liver and heart often fail, the mind sometimes too, resulting in excessive aggression.
What's the second stage?
The trial of the grasses. More idiotic tales have been conjured up about that than about princesses and dwarves. Before the raid, the lab contained vials, hearths, formulae, herbs, and the grasses. A mage and his magic were all that was lacking.
Did you ever witness a trial?
Just one, our own. I thought I was going to lose it when your hair turned white. The grasses affect the nervous system, so magic must control the process. The trial results in lightning-fast reflexes, reaction times normal people will never attain. Only 4 out of 10 survive.
Quite a cut. And the last stage?
I don't know the specifics. It involves changes like the mutation of the eyes, the bone marrow, hormones. In exchange, we see in the dark, heal much faster than ordinary folk, and gain increased resistance to poison.
Interesting. What's the cost?
We're infertile.
The changes are irreversible?
Entirely.
I tell you what, the reason that's not grayed out is because there was an additional option that I didn't pick there. I think that's why that is, but we've already talked through that.
Did you see the magic storm?
Yes, I was out hunting. Just before the storm came, a swarm of nightjars took flight. Hundreds of them. Gray streaks across the sky, trilling wildly. Usually less of them gather, and their cries rarely sound so desperate. When the storm came, I gave up the hunt and headed toward Kaer Morhen. Met the others on the way.
Okay.
We'll talk later.
Useful information there from Eskel. I already touched on it a little bit earlier, but he went into far more detail than I did. Lambert!
What is it, Wolf?
Any thoughts on the attackers?
Amateurs. If not for the mage and the frightener, we'd have beaten them blindfolded.
But they had a mage and a frightener. They robbed us and killed Leo.
True, but we'll find them.
Leo said he almost defeated you.
We were sparring when that storm arrived. My medallion jerked so hard I almost fell. The boy saw an opening. He certainly had potential. Then Marigold appeared, shaking, delirious. She insisted we chase the wild hunt. Vesemir agreed. He always had a soft spot for her.
You dislike Triss?
She's too pretentious for my taste.
That's the first mention of the wild hunt. They are pretty important to the overall story of the Witcher games, admittedly, but I don't know whether I should explain any more right now than is necessary, because I might end up spoiling something. But again, it's one of those weird situations where you know nothing about it if you're only playing the game, but if you've read the books, you do know a bit more about it. But anyway,
can you tell me about the fighting styles Witchers use?
The art of combat involves 3 traditional sword-fighting styles, plus a few variations designed for combating monsters.
Start with the basic styles.
Kaer Morhen is the wolf school. Old Vesemir always made sure we train more as warriors than mages, though we also learn the signs. Witches employ 3 fighting styles. There's Aden Enye, the fiery dancer, which we call the fast style. The Viruleden Nefde Fendlediv, the group style, and the Temerian Devil, the strong style. Which style do you want to hear about?
I think the pronunciation of that was like, blah.
The fiery dancer sounds interesting.
The legendary elven swordsman and poet Nisael created it, basing the system of steps and cuts on his observations of wildcats, especially the ocelots that elven rulers used as palace guards. The fiery dancer favors speed and agility over strength of blows. Opponents simply don't have the time to strike back. The ideal swordsman is a flame that cannot be hurt and inflicts wounds each time it is touched. Nisael himself wrote that. The style is popular among the elven aristocracy. Which style do you want to hear about?
Let's hear the group combat style. I think this one is.
Tell me about the Viruleden style.
Literally translated, it is the 9-sun sword style. The swordsmen of Viruledo developed it as a method for tackling several opponents through complex slashing sequences. They say masters of this style can fight 9 opponents simultaneously. Which style do you want to hear about?
Does it involve smacking people with our pommel?
Temerian Devil sounds familiar.
Sounds poetic, but there's little or no philosophy involved. Devised by Temerian Landsknechts, simple men. It's best against heavy armored opponents. Which style do you want to hear about?
I think I've heard enough.
All right.
It's Landsknechts, not Landsknechts. He nailed the Elven pronunciation, but he couldn't manage that, apparently. Never mind.
Can you tell me about the
Yep. Wouldn't mind hearing about the monster cells.
I wouldn't mind hearing about monster fighting techniques.
You noticed we carried 2 swords? That's because some monsters are immune to steel. A normal sword won't cut them.
For instance?
Werewolves, vampires, genies, and other magical beasts. The techniques for fighting with a silver sword derive from traditional swordsmanship, but there are a few essential differences. No parries and ripostes, mainly steps, evasive moves, spins, and other acrobatics.
Again, he's mentioning 2 swords, and yet everybody in the game has 1 sword. It's unless I'm colossally misremembering it, folks, you only get 1 sword in this game. It's weird. Anyway.
I'll be in trouble if I don't get my memory back.
You'll be all right, Wolf. Your body will recall all it needs to. Certain things you never forget. Trust your intuition when choosing your fighting style. The Devil's best against Kikimors, Graviers, and Fledders. The Fiery Dancer is absolutely superb against Barghests and Ghouls. And the Virledon? Anything that attacks in groups, but initially limited to Drowners.
Thanks, Lambert.
No problem, Wolf.
We'll speak later.
Jolly good. Oop, sorry, Lambert. I need to get past. Again, is there anything in here I missed? I'm holding down the Alt button. Doesn't seem to be. Oh, hello. Ah, there's more of that. Okay, well, I'll have it, I guess. Wouldn't hurt. Where is the bit that leads to Triss's room? Ah, right. We got to get to the other stairs. Right, that's that. I understand now. I get it now. I think. Yeah. The stairs I initially tried to go up were the right stairs. It's just they're broken in the middle, so you have to go across here. I think. Via this way. Okay. And, oh, more stuff. A wardrobe with bread in it. Who keeps bread in a wardrobe? Students, that's who. Which actually makes sense now that I think about it. Fair enough, game. Fair enough. You win this round. Alright, this is the room at the top here. People who've played The Witcher 3, you'll recognise this room because this is the room where you start The Witcher 3. It does look a little bit different, but it's the same room. Look, it's even got the tub. Double-click on the healing potion to give it to Triss. Tip: win favours of other characters by giving them gifts. There we go. And where's the potion got to? Quest times. Here we go. Potion for Triss.
Thank you, Geralt.
I hope this potion helps.
That was terrible. I dreamt Lambert was with me. He was staring at me, saying things like, "Don't go dying on me, Marigold," calling me big-headed. I'm so glad to see you. What?
I'm glad you're feeling better.
I know we should set out, but I have a feeling we won't be back. Perhaps ever. Won't you stay just a bit longer? With me?
Oh, we'll be back, Triss. Don't you worry about that. Alright, here we have a choice. Basically, Geralt gets laid, or he doesn't get laid. Obvious choice, clearly.
I suppose we have some time.
I'm so happy you're back. When I saw you, all the feelings I tried to deny returned, stronger than ever.
Triss, I'm not ready to talk about the past.
Of course. I shouldn't pressure you. I just feel so... The powers. I'm behaving like a teenager. Let's focus on the present. I guess I disappointed you all. Forgive me.
Nothing to forgive. What I felt when I learned you were alive, hard to compare to anything.
Oh.
Except maybe what I feel as I look at you.
I missed you so. Let's see if the best bed in Kaer Morhen can hold us.
Oh, the cringe. Anyway, good for you, I guess, Geralt. Yeah, and then we get awarded with this weird collectible card thing. There's a lot of these in this game. One of the weird things about this game is that, very much unlike Geralt in the books...
Geralt, a pleasure.
Hold that thought.
As always.
As always?
You don't remember anything?
Unfortunately.
Well, you have something to look forward to then. No matter. Tell me, how did the battle end?
They broke into the lab, killed Leo, stole our mutagens, and escaped.
Poor Vesemir. Another protege dead prematurely.
We delayed the funeral until you awoke.
Thank you. As for the mutagens, their loss could prove catastrophic. Let's not lose any more time. Unless there's something you'd like to ask me?
What was I saying? Yeah, okay. In this game, unlike what I remember from reading the books fairly recently, at least I haven't read all of the books yet, but I've read some in the entire first one and most of the second one. Geralt's an absolute randy old stoat in this game. He just goes sticking his Johnson in all sorts of places in this game, and I really don't recall him being like that in the books at all. It's a kind of a weird thing, but there it is. You could go collecting those romance cards, I think they're called, in this game. I don't know if we'll go out of our way to grab those in the game. I think we'll just get them when we come across them, I suppose. In the meantime...
We shouldn't keep Vesemir waiting.
Come on, then.
Oops. I probably should have selected some of the other options first.
We don't know where the bandits came from or who's behind them. We'll draw attention if we venture out as a group. By splitting up, we can also cover more territory.
I'll go west. I know a few people there, and I prefer the coastal
Then
climate.
I'll head east, to Kedwin, unless someone objects.
That's fine. Which way should I go?
South, to Temeria. King Foltest owes you a debt of gratitude. Some time ago, you removed a curse from his daughter. You might happen on the bandits' trail there. And you, Triss?
I'll try to use my influence to find the bandits. If I learn anything, I'll contact Geralt. I'll gather what information I can and find you in Vizima.
Triss.
Don't, Geralt. I detest goodbyes. I'm liable to cry, and there's nothing more pathetic than a sorceress in tears. Don't get killed, Geralt. I don't think I could deal with that again. I'll see you soon.
See you, Triss.
Caroline, I'm tired.
It's not far now. We'll be there soon.
I'm cold.
We'll fetch you warm milk and honey. You'd like that.
Very much. Thank you, Caroline. What are those dogs doing?
Dogs? Alvin, do exactly as I'll say. This is important. Run to the inn as fast as you can, and don't look back. Understand?
They're evil dogs.
Run!
What the hell? Shut the gate, quickly! The beast! The beast is attacking! Sound the alarm!
Geralt! Melatelli must have sent you. There's a woman outside. The dogs will tear her apart. Help her! Help! No!
Don't open the gate! The beasts will enter! These dogs are deadly.
You people are monsters! Stand aside! I'll save them myself!
Stop. Don't go out there alone.
Damn you! We're all going to die!
Alright, bar guests. I'm going to use the fast style for these guys, I think, because actually Lambert mentioned that in the dialogue earlier. Let's switch to the group style for a second, actually, because there's 3 of the buggers.
What was that?
Magic, surely.
The beast! Geralt, look!
The time of the sword and axe approaches. The time of the white frost and white light. The time of madness and disdain. Tedirat, the final age. The world will perish amidst ice and be reborn with the new sun. Reborn of elder blood, of hen Iker, of a planted seed. A seed that will not sprout but burst into flames.
The old elven prophecy of Itlena. I hope he's all right.
It seems he saved us from the beast.
Yes, seems so. Oh, I do hope he's not hurt. I'll need to find someone to take care of him. He shouldn't be alone. We'll stay at the inn in the meantime.
Wait a minute. I ran into wild dogs on my way here, but they were nothing like these, and I don't mean just the green fur. Know anything about them?
They've been terrorizing the village for some time. Every few days, a villager is killed. The pack is led by a large hound, perhaps a wolf. People call it the Beast.
Someone might pay to have the beast slain.
That's what witchers do, isn't it? But enough about monsters. What brings you here?
I'm seeking men who wear the sign of the Salamandra. Seen anyone like that in the area?
Shh, not so loud. There was someone, but the peasants grow silent at the mere mention of him. The Reverend might know more. You may also want to ask him about the beast.
I'll do that.
Did you want to ask me something?
Right, this is Shani. She's a character from the books, I think, if I recall. But obviously Geralt has no recollection of her at this point.
Do we know each other?
It's me, Shani. Don't you recognize me? Whatever happened to you? I heard you died during a massacre in Rivia.
Unfortunately, I lost my memory. I recall the last few weeks, nothing more.
I'm afraid I can't help. Medicine's a fledgling science here in the north. I can say that your memory might come back on its own.
It's not that bad. I'm actually getting used to it.
I hate to admit it, but sorcerers are somewhat more effective at this than we are. Maybe one of them could help.
Again, there's the mention of him supposedly being dead, because, as I said, he does die at the end of at the end of the books. I won't get into the details of how, but the games do eventually spoil it anyway. But yeah, he does die at the end of the books. And one of the interesting things about the books, actually, is the fact that Andrei Sapkowski, again, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, I believe he has plans to write more books, but again, then they're going to be sort of prequels to his actual main series, I think. Prequels or sort of side stories, essentially, because he's quite firm on the books ending the way they do. These games, as much as I love them, as far as the author is concerned of the original stories, it's very much an unofficial kind of what-if take on, what if Geralt didn't actually die at the end, and what story might we tell after that? So it's just, I find that quite interesting that they decided to go do their whole new thing instead of just adapting the story of the books into a game form. It's just kind of cool. I can't imagine, I mean, I can't remember or think of any other example of doing something like that. You know, making a direct sequel to something that has such a final end to it, but in a video game form versus an original book. It's very odd and unique in that respect. But anyway.
It's been a long time since I've heard mention of Salamandra. Do you know anything about them?
I think they're a group of bandits who terrify the locals. Yesterday, they returned a boy they'd whipped with a lamia.
A lamia?
A mayhen crop with small barbs and hooks. It rips away skin and flesh with each strike. Most civilized countries have banned them. The boy was delirious. Muttered something about a ransom and the Reverend. Sadly, he grew feverish, and he died that night.
Thanks. I may stay longer than I planned.
Why the interest in Salamandra?
They killed someone I was fond of, and stole something of mine.
I wouldn't want to be them.
Yeah, let's ask about the boy who seems to be writhing in pain on the floor. That's we should probably mention that. Who also just now seemed possessed and blurted out Aethelyn's prophecy there, which is some tremendous foreshadowing for later on, actually, later on in the series. Which I totally didn't notice the first time I played this through. Part of the reason I'm playing this game again is so I can notice things like that. Anyway.
So what'll become of Alvin?
I don't know. I'll look after him for now. Maybe a villager will take him in.
He seems clever enough. Surely someone will want him.
Did you want to ask me something?
What brings you to this village?
I'm traveling to St. Lebioda's hospital in Vizima to help fight the Catriona plague.
When are you leaving?
Once I've helped the victims of the dog attacks, I guess. I can't abandon them. It'll delay me, but some are certain to die without my aid.
We'll speak later.
Okay. Oh, he's fine now, apparently. We needn't have worried, apparently. Anyway. Right. The Salamandra's Tale. Yeah, we've got a few quests now. Also, let's have a look at the map. Here we are. We're in Temeria. We're at the outskirts of the city of Vizima. Around this big bay here. And we're right about there. Right next to this what is this place? The Inn. It's just called The Inn. It doesn't have a special name. It's just The Inn. Alright, fair enough. Ooh, beast fangs. Let's have those. And a Barghest skull. Skull of a Barghest. Some merchants will gladly purchase it. Heaven knows why, but apparently they will gladly purchase it. So I suppose we better grab them. And what's this? Ectoplasm. Hydrogenum? And albedo. The blue, it's got blue and white stuff in it. That's all we need to know. Alright, good. And then there's this poor gentleman who seems to have died here and fallen into the wall, who nobody seems to be remarking about at all. In fact, nobody's cleaned the bodies away or anything, and we're just leaving him there. Alright. Well, anyway. Okay, he's just relieving himself. I mean, well, to be fair, he's outside a pub and he's drunk. I'm not saying I haven't been there myself. Anyway, with that, folks, I leave you for episode 2. We're coming up on an hour again, so we'll uncover this mystery of the beast strange glowing orange doggy. And also try and track down the Salamandra guys next time, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, have a good one. And I'll catch you later.